Namaste. As we are in the third chapter of building materials and construction management, uh, the third chapter is timber and surface protective materials. So we already finished timber in last class. So now we'll try to finish this surface protective equipment materials in this class. Let us see the our syllabus also. So that we are finishing third chapter today. So here we have composition of paints, enamels and varnishes. It is there in our syllabus, and types and uses of surface protective materials like paints, enamels, varnishes, distemper, emulsion, French polish, wax polish are there. This is our syllabus kind of view, and let us see the details. Actually, what is the surface protective materials? Means which can protect the exterior surface of the masonry or interior surface of the masonry. So, which will the plaster which will cover brick masonry. So, the plaster itself is not look good for aesthetic point of view. So, we will use certain colors to make a plaster aesthetic point of view good enough, right? So in this class, we'll try to complete these the state composition of paints and composition of enamels and composition of varnishes and types and uses of the following paints. So I'll try to complete all these, but if it not, it is a very huge subject. So I will try to complete. If not, we can continue tomorrow. Right. And what is a paint? Paint is a liquid that will spread over a solid surface, dry and hardened, forming an adherent, coherent film acting as a surface protective material. Right. So let us see one video regarding to paint. Constituents of paints. So paint consists of the following materials like base, uh, inert material, uh, it will explain the component parts of
Hello friends,
paints.
why we paint our house or building? The reasons are paint enhances the appearance of building, it protects the surface from rain and sunlight, paint also increases lifespan and durability of the structure. In this video, we are going to discuss different components of paint. Modern paints can have many complementary components, each responsible for keep the specific quality of the paint. But basically, paint consists of six main components, and they are base, liquid, weather, solid, oil, and fluids. So let us discuss them one by one. Base. Base is the solid substance that forms the bodies of paint. Base usually consists of very fine powder or structural material such as white sugar, white flour, zinc oxide, iron oxide, titanium oil, aluminum powder, lithium, etc. Base makes the compounds of paint tougher, harder, and moister. Its composition should stress.
Yeah, this is about constituent paints. So paints having six constituent parts. Those are base, inert filler or adulterant, vehicle or carrier, nothing but solvent, dryer, solvent. Right. These are main parts of a paint. Right. Let's see another one also. And pigment also there. This is also nice. Paint composition. Yeah, this is about different constant parts of a paint. So base, it is a material either metallic or mineral. It forms the bulk of a paint. The base is usually opaque and it is possesses covering power, and it's a thin layer when applied on the surface completely covers and hides the material, like what is the plastering or everything. So it makes coating film of paint resistant against abrasion and prevents formation of shrinkage cracks in the film also, right? So base is a main material which is directly applied to the surface wherever we want to apply the paint. So example, white lead, red lead, junk lead, iron oxide, aluminum powder, these are the common bases. Inert film, these are used to dilute the base of a paint, increasing the durability and lessening the cost of paint. They should not be used in excess amount, as otherwise the paint may lose its original character. Right? Barium sulfate, barite silica, lithophone, whiting charcoal, gypsum. These are the some inert fillers. Right? Next, vehicle or carrier. Vehicle is a liquid substance used in a paint for dissolving and holding the base and pigment in suspension. Right. So, vehicle enables the paint to spread over the surface in a thin, uniform layer when applied. Actually, base is a thick layer. So, to make a durable and it is a thin layer. So, we are using vehicle or carrier. So vehicle helps the base and pigment to enter into the pores, cracks, fissures, if any, on the surface. It hardens and by absorbing oxygen from the atmosphere forms a resinous semi-elastic coat, which gives a durable and impervious skin. Right. So refined linseed oil is the most commonly used vehicle in paints. Right. Beside linseed oil, tongue oil, puppy oil, nut oil may also be used as a vehicle. What is a dryer? Dryer in a paint are required to thicken the vehicle or dry up rapidly, right? So paint has to be dry immediately. Litharge, manganese dioxide, lead acetate, cobalt are the usual dryers. What is a solvent? Thinner is required to reduce the consistency of paint. It evaporates after the paint has been applied to the surface. So it also helps the paint to penetrate into surface to be painted. Turpentine is the most commonly used solvent. Petroleum spirits and naphtha are also very good solvents. Pigments, coloring agents. Pigment is a coloring agent mixed with the base to produce a desired color out of the paint. The pigment in the paint should have the property of readily amalgamating with the vehicle capacity, opacity, chemical inertness, no crystalline structures, fine state of division, and insolubility should be there for pigment. So indigo, cobalt blue, burnt amber, these are the some what output colors we can form, right? Pigments. Functions of paints. Why we use paints? So what is the function of importance of paints? We are using paints to protect the different surfaces from weathering effects of the atmosphere, to prevent decay of wood members or wet rot, to prevent corrosion or metallic surfaces, to provide colorful, pleasing and decorative appearance to the surfaces. See flow diagram of a paint manufacturer. Pigment and fourth color, thinner and drier, vehicle, plasticizer, mixer, mixed together. And this is the grinding mill, and this vehicle is added here to make a base as a thin and thinning tank, right? So second floor, third floor, like quality test controls. and transparent tank, packaging, containers. This is the manufacturing process of a paint. Characteristic of ideal paint. The requirements are uniform. It should be uniform spread as a thin film. It is, should high coverage, good workability. It should have durability, sufficiently elasticity to remain unaffected by expansion or contraction of the surface to be painted, or by weathering action of atmosphere, impervious to air and water, and cheap and economical to form a hard surface. Right. What are the enamels? So enamel is prepared by grinding bases like zinc oxide and white lead in varnish. So it decides if desired coloring pigments also added. So they are quickly and furnish a hard glossy surface. Enamels they can be used in for internal walls as well as external walls and are generally recommended for application of wood. So these are acid resistant, not affected by alkalis and greases. It should be waterproof also. So application of enamels. The surface of the wood is rubbed for a sand, paper and cleaned. The primer coat consists of titanium white in pale linseed oils is followed by 2 or 3 coats of enamel paint. And what is a varnish? A transparent or semi-transparent solution of a resinous substance, either in linseed oil or turpentine or alcohol, is called varnish. Right. So the ingredients of varnishes are uh, resin, solvent, and dryer. Resin means a natural or synthetic organic substance which is soluble in some organic solvent, amber, copal, gum, ammonium, like this. So solvents, it acts as a vehicle of the varnish and helps in spreading the resin. Boiled linseed oil. Dryer, it helps in quick drying of the varnish. Litharge, white copper, lead acetate are the different examples, right? Type of solvents depends upon the type of the resin used and in a given is in a given table, right? Materials for making varnishes, resins and solvents. So amber, copal, uh, gum anion is add by solvent, boiled linseed oil and turpentine, wood naphtha, mm, sorry, methylated spirit. These are the some varnishes. The oil dries with time. The solvents evaporate, leaving behind a solid, transparent resin film over the surface. For rapid drying, and dryers such as lead acetate are used. Varnishes provide to protect coating and gloss to the surface and the intensity of the wood grains. Right. And what are the types of paints? There are 8 types of paints. So like aluminum paints, bituminous paints, um, finished polish, wax polish. This video shows the different types of paints. These are the various types of paints. Aluminum paints are manufactured using finely grounded aluminum powder, and paint is not affected for high temperature, and salt water also we can use. When it offers, if it offers good protection against rusting, corrosion, and it widely used for painting of hot pipes and tanks, marine piers. Bituminous paints are used for asphalt and bituminous patches, black color, and the paint is used on surfaces which are immersed in water. Right, this is bituminous paint. Cement paste. This paste is consist of dry Portland cement colored in boiled linseed oil, sometimes which acts as a vehicle. The mixture is brought to be a suitable consistency and applied. Emulsion paints prepared by using synthetic resin likely polyvinyl acetate. Emulsion paint is a user. It is a paint is a water-based paint that is used for wall covering and various other applications. Emulsion paints differs from gloss paints in that it leaves a behind a matte finish instead of a shiny finish. It retains its colors for a long period of time. The painted surfaces is tough and then be cleaned by washing with water. The paint shows good resistance against alkalis. It is dries quickly. Anti-corrosive paints. These paints are essentially consist of the linseed oil as vehicle. They have red lead, um, zinc oxide, iron oxide, zinc dust. These are cheaper, right? These paints mainly protect the surface materials like structurally weak. The structures which are structurally weak, we can use anti-corrosion. Bronze materials, right? These are prepared by dissolving aluminum bronze, right? These paints are very reflective type in surface and very useful for being applied on radiators, right? Also used for interior and exterior metallic surfaces as a decorative article with bronze paint. Plastic enamel paint. A plastic emulsion paint is water-based wall paint. It is based on acrylic and provide a smooth matte finish to the wall. Right. So these are some pictures of paints. And raw materials of plastic emulsion paint, cement primer and putty. A coat of cement primer is a base coat applied on the surface of for painting. Putty it is used for to fill uneven surfaces and holes. It is prepared by mixing white lead chalk together to form a shape of thick paste. Eight silicate paints prepared by adding calcium finely grounded silica resinous materials, right? And very hard and durable painted surfaces. It forms a very hard and durable coating painted surfaces, right? And these are applied directly on brick or concrete or plastered surfaces, right? These paints do not require any priming coat, so the paint is not applied on hard surfaces. Silicate paints, for example. Silicate dispersion paint is also known as inorganic mineral paint. It does not form a film, bonds by penetrating into the surface by petrifaction into a small, into a stone-like microcrystalline coating, right, which repels liquid water, allows water vapors to pass through, and it also protects the walls from the microorganisms, right? These are the about silicate paints. So, enamel paints. Enamel paint consists of a base like white lead or zinc white added to a vehicle, which is a varnish to obtain the required color. So the coloring agents may also be added. So these paints dry slowly after application and form a hard durable surface. Paint Painted surfaces are not affected by atmosphere. These can be used both for interior as well as exterior paintings. See, Venetian glass with enamel decoration. Drying of enamel paint. Oil-based enamel reaches optimum hardness in 8 to 24 hours. Water-based enamels takes a month to cure. Hence, care must be taken for washing. Oil-based enamels dry from the inside out. So, when we feel completely dry to the touch, they are fully cured. Right. Water-based enamels dry from outside to inside, so a skin forms on the surface of the paint, so it feels dry, but when you touch it in hour, it will be touched to the paint finger. So the underlying paint film dries very slowly. In humid or cool conditions, it can be used. Types of enamel paints. Enamel paints are many types and that are hard, washable, and usually glossy. They can be classified as oil-based to enamel paints, water-based enamel paints, alkali-based enamel paints. Oil-based enamel paints have stronger solvent odor. All clean up is done with paint thinner or mineral spirit. Water-based, also called as latex or acrylic paints, easier to use, dry faster, and have fairly low order. Some enamels are heat resistant also. Enamels also be urethane, polyurethane in either water or solvent based. Enamels typically come in several sheets from eggshell or low luster to stain. Semi-gloss or high gloss specialized enamels often faster drying used for painting and applications and flooring also. Right, types of enamels: floor enamels, fast dry enamels, high temperature enamels, and so floor enamels can be used for floors and staircases. Fast dry enamels can be dry within 10 to 15 minutes of application, so ideal for refrigerators, counters, etc. High temperature enamels can be used as engines and the brakes. So enamel is also used on wood to make it resistance to the destroying elements due to the waterproofing and rot proofing properties of enamel. So next, varnishes. Varnish is a transparent, hard, protective film, finish or film, primarily used in wood finishing, but also for other materials. So varnish is traditionally a combination of drying oil, a resin, and a thinner and solvent, right? So varnish is a transparent, hard protective finish or film primarily used for wood finishing. Okay. So types of varnishes: oil varnishes, spar varnishes, flat varnishes, spirit varnishes, asphalt varnishes, etc. Right. Oil varnishes means oil varnishes used a linseed oil as a solvent and it takes 24 hours to dry, and it can be used for both interior and exterior surfaces. If you take a spar varnish, it can be used in spars. So it gives a sticky effect in warm weather. So if it not used in indoors, materials such as wax, uh, uh, soap, uh, or finely divided silica uh, when added to varnish produce a dull appearance on drying, known as a flat varnish. Spirit varnish is a resin dissolved spirit. The example of uh, spirit varnish is French polish or lacquer and shellac varnish. It quicks very quickly. It dries very quickly. Uses These are mostly used for furnitures and unpainted wood surfaces. Asphalt varnish is made by dissolving melted hard asphalt and in linseed oil. It uses for sharp fabricated steel works. So water varnish, which is varnish in which hot water is used as a solvent, and these are used for the varnishes of maps and pictures also. Distemper. Distemper is a paint with a white chalk as a base, and water as a thinner. Some coloring pigments and glue are also added. So they are available in powder or paste form and are sustainably cheaper than paints. So these are used for decorative purposes. They are most suitable for plastered surfaces and whitewashed surfaces of interior walls. So oil-based, oil-bound wash distemper or washable oil distemper. Two types are there, and non-washable also there. Emulsion paints. So in the oil-bound distemper, the drying oil is rendered mixable with water. While using, they are uh, thinned by adding water on drying. The oil content in distemper hardness, resulting in a comparatively durable coating. The washable oil free from distemper. So non-washable oil distemper and emulsion distempers are there. Characteristics of a good distemper: the coating are thick and more brittle compared to paints. They are workable, easy in application, but less durable. So the film being porous and can be applied on newly plastered surfaces. Right, this is a distemper work what done. Right. Next, emulsion paint is a water-based paint. Emulsion paints are also known as latex paints. It is so called because the polymer is formed through an emulsion polymerization, whereby the monomers are emulsified in the water continuous phase. The polymer itself is not soluble in water, and hence the paint is water resistant after it has dried. So latex emulsion or interior walls. So this is what spirit varnish prepared for dissolving resins as methylated spirit, the room temperature used for hard wood. And French polish is a paint used on wood surfaces. It is a filler mixed with a desired color and is spread and is prepared to the consistency of a paste applied to the cracks and pores. The surfaces are made smooth by rubbing. This polish is used for superior woodworks and handrails. This is called French polish. And wax polish is a decorative finish. It consists of beeswax, dissolved and turpentine. So wax linseed oil uses highlighting the grain over wooden surfaces. Right. It is also used over marble also. So this is what we discussed today. These are the expected questions. So what is a paint? Uh, what is a what are the ingredients of paint? What are the uses of paint? How enamels are prepared? What are the different types of paints are there? What are the constituents of varnish? What are the different types of varnishes? What are the different types of distempers available? What is a French polish? What is a wax polish? Okay, these are different items what we discussed today. Okay, this is the end of the class.